Hey guys, it's Megan, and in today's video, I'll be showing you 10 crafts that you can make with wrapping paper. You know, like when you're wrapping presents and you're left with those little random pieces that are just too small to do anything with? I always feel kind of bad throwing them out, so I thought it might be fun to come up with a few ways to use it. If you have wrapping paper with some sort of characters on it, you could cut them out to make your own stickers. Other than the wrapping paper, all you need is some scissors, packing tape, and parchment paper. Cut out your images, then lay down a piece of parchment paper. Stick on a piece of packing tape with the sticky side down. Place the image that you cut out on top, and hold it in place with another piece of tape. Cut out around the image, making sure to leave a bit of a border around the edges. When you're ready to use the sticker, just peel the parchment paper off the back. If your wrapping paper doesn't really have images, or if it's a smaller print like this, you could cut out shapes instead. I made circle stickers using this snowflake pattern. These ones were a little bigger, so I needed to use 2 pieces of tape on the top and bottom. You can use these to decorate Christmas cards, add them to DIY gift tags, or use them in a scrapbook or art journal. Another super easy way to use your wrapping paper scraps is to make your own washi tape. All you have to do is take some double-sided tape, peel one side off, and stick it to your wrapping paper. Cut out the strip of tape, and when you're ready to use it, just peel off the other side and stick it to your project. You can also use wrapping paper to decorate Christmas cards. For this one, print out this template that I linked in the description. Cut out the shapes, then choose a few paper scraps to use. I kind of cheated and used scrapbook paper for this one, but of course wrapping paper will work just as well. You can also use fabric scraps for this. Flip your paper over to the back and trace around the template. You'll need 5 triangles altogether, 1 trunk, and 1 star. I cut the triangles out with pinking shears to make the edges a little fancier, but normal scissors will work fine too. If you want to turn this into a card, take an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, fold it in half, and cut it down the middle. Fold one of those pieces in half again, and that's it. Glue the paper pieces to the front of the card. Start with the tree trunk, and work your way up, starting at triangle number 5, and ending with triangle number 1. Put the star on top, and your card's ready to go. This was actually a project that I helped my grandma with last year. She asked me to make a template from this card that she got, and she made a bunch of these trees using fabric scraps. Another thing you can do with wrapping paper is use it to make collages. For this one, I used my paper trimmer to cut out a bunch of squares to fill up the page. These make it a lot easier to cut straight lines. I definitely recommend investing in one if you do a lot of paper crafts like I do. Once I had the layout that I wanted, I stuck everything down with a glue stick. Honestly, I think if you stopped here, this would be a really cute art journal background. But I decided to turn these into presents. I used some acrylic paint to draw crosses on top of each box to look like ribbon. Then I used some more paint to add bows to the top of each present. I outlined the lighter bows in black using a micron pen, and outlined the darker bows with a white Posca pen. And here's how the finished page turned out. I think this would be really cool if you did this on a larger scale. I saw someone who wrapped a bunch of cardboard rectangles and stuck them to the wall to make it look like a giant pile of presents, and I thought that was so cute. I would definitely do that if I had the space for it. Something else that I like to do with extra wrapping paper is to use it to make bows. For a more traditional gift bow, go ahead and cut 8 strips of paper that are 3/4 of an inch wide. You'll need 3 pieces that are 9.5 inches long, 3 pieces that are 8.5 inches long, 1 piece that's 6.5 inches, and 1 that's 2.5 inches long. Starting with the 3 longest strips, fold them into a figure 8 shape like this. I really don't know how to explain this, but hopefully you can follow along by watching what I'm doing on the screen. Go ahead and use a small piece of tape to hold that in place. And once they're all done, arrange the figure 8 shapes on top of each other like this. I found it easiest to tape them together first, then staple the bow in the middle. Next, turn the 8.5 inch strips into those figure 8 shapes, and place them on top like this. Again, I used a small piece of tape to hold it together, and added another staple in the middle. Make another figure 8 with the 6.5 inch piece, and tape that down. Finally, roll the 2.5 inch piece into a loop like this, and tape it to the center. And that's it! These take about 10 minutes to make, and they're so much cheaper than buying pre-made bows. If you're looking for an even easier way to make bows, this next project's perfect. Take a piece of wrapping paper and fold it in half. Then cut out like a fish shape, placing the fish's head near the fold, and the tail at the open end. You could definitely draw this out beforehand, or make yourself a template so that all your bows are the same size. Then cut a V shape out of the tail. When you open it up, it should look like this. Cut a slit here and here. Bring the slits together, then squish down the bow at the part where it kind of looks like the fishes are kissing. Yeah, I know that's a great explanation. And cut another small piece of paper to wrap around the middle, taping it on the back to secure it. And that's it. I think that these would be really cute if you glued them to a string to make a garland, or just taped them up in random places. Of course, they're great for adding to the top of presents too. Another way you can use wrapping paper is to make Christmas ornaments. Other than the wrapping paper, I used a pencil, a popsicle stick, a hot glue gun, ribbon, and some craft foam. First, cut out 10 pieces of paper that are 7.5 by 3 3/4 inches. Flip the paper over. Starting at one of the shorter sides of the paper, go ahead and roll it around a pencil. Then use a little bit of tape to hold it in place. Take the paper off of the pencil and add more tape if you need to. Here's what it should look like when you're done. Repeat this 9 more times so that you have 10 paper rolls in total. Line them up in the order that you want, with the taped side facing up. Then add a line of hot glue down the middle. Make sure to use a lot of glue. I did not use enough, and you'll see later. But put the popsicle stick on top and wait for the glue to cool. Use a marker to draw a triangle shape and cut along the lines that you drew. Apparently, I didn't use enough glue in the last step because the top and bottom roll of paper kind of fell off when I was trying to cut it, but that's easy enough to fix with a little more glue. Cut along the other line, and now you have a cute little tree. I wanted my tree to have a star on top, so I cut one out of craft foam and hot glued it to the front of the ornament. To finish it off, I hot glued a ribbon into a loop on the back, and that was it. Let me know in the comments. Are your Christmas ornaments all matching, or do you have just a bunch of random ones? In my family, we've always just had a bunch of random ones, and now we have so many that my mom, she bought 2 trees. Another way that I like to use wrapping paper is to use it to cover cardboard boxes that I use for storage. I like using shoe boxes like this to store craft supplies. For the ones that have an attached lid, I usually wrap it in 2 parts. I like to use paper with a print that doesn't need to be lined up exactly. I always start by wrapping the bottom of the box. Personally, I like to cover up the edges of the cardboard, so I tape the long sides first, then fold some extra paper over the shorter sides before folding in the edges. Repeat this on the other side, then wrap the lid. What I do is I cut the corners out of the paper, and then I add on an extra paper scrap to make sure that the corner doesn't show. Then I fold in and tape the shorter edge. Repeat this on the other side, then fold and tape the longer edge. To finish it, go ahead and tape down this gap at the back of the box. And that's it! I've also done this with contact paper, which makes it a little more durable. Something else that I always do is use wrapping paper as a photo backdrop. This is actually bulletin board paper. I got a bunch of this on clearance back in September. I like using this for crafting videos because it also protects your work surface. But you can use it for photos with actual people in them too. The last way that I like to use wrapping paper is to use it to make sewing patterns. Now, a full disclaimer, sewing is definitely not my specialty, so if I can do this, anyone can. I decided to make a tank top pattern. Find a tank top that fits you well, fold it in half, and trace around it. You're going to want to trace around the front and around the back. Add a 1/2 inch seam allowance to the bottom and the side, and 3/8 of an inch to the neckline and the armhole. Cut out the pattern, and place the long side on the fold of your fabric. This pattern only works with stretchy fabric, just because of the way the original shirt was made, so I used a shirt that my sister was getting rid of. Pin the pattern in place, cut it out, then fold and pin the neckline, armhole, and bottom edge of each piece. Since I used an old shirt for this, I was able to preserve the hemline at the bottom and get away with a little less sewing. Sew along the folded edges using a zigzag stitch. I set my thread tension to 4.5, the stitch length to 2.5, and the stitch width to 2.5 as well. Next, place the right sides together and pin along the sides and the top of the shoulders. Sew them together using that same zigzag stitch. I actually ended up doing 2 rows of stitching here, since this is the part that will get stretched the most when you wear it. This turned out surprisingly well. I mean, the print is not great. I don't have anything that goes with this, but now that I know that the pattern works, I can make it with some different fabric. So that was everything for today's video. Make sure to let me know which project was your favorite. I think mine was either the tank top or the bows. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!